Hi, Tom.
Hey, Dave. How are you doing?
Very good. How are you?
Fine.
Good.
Have a good weekend?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I had a great weekend. I went to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, and I saw the silent drum and bugle corps, or the silent drill team, and the president's own, the drum and bugle corps. And they're both absolutely magnificent. They come out here about once a year, and they were great.
Great.
Yeah.
I bet they enjoyed having you there, too.
Oh, they did. They did. They knew I was there. Yeah. What's on the agenda, Tom? What do you got going? Anything? Because I got some stuff. If you don't, you tell me what you got.
Well, it seemed to me that we might talk about those VA C&P exams.
Oh, that's a real good point. C&P exams, more specifically, they're QTC exams often. And QTC are examinations the Veterans Administration schedules with doctors in the community to examine veterans for usually their service-connected disabilities that they're filing a claim for. And they get a letter from a doctor 2 or 3 weeks in advance with an address on 3rd Street and a time and paperwork that they need to fill out and take to the doctor's office for that examination. And that helps the Veterans Administration because they can't do all of the examinations, so they have doctors in the community throughout the country who they schedule for any kind of examination veterans need.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's a great opportunity, and it's an exam that you absolutely, as a veteran, have to attend, right, Dave?
Well, yes and no. If you choose to have a private doctor examine you for the disability alleged, which is permissible, and you have been scheduled for a QTC examination, you must let the VA know you will not be attending that examination. If not, you're a no-show. Closes the book, brings the curtain down. So you must let them know that you will not be attending that examination, and you will present the information requested on the service-connected disability, essentially a diagnosis.
You will want to review with your representative, if you've got one, the VA Clinician's Guide. This is the guide that the VA gives to its doctors. And it's a protocol. It's like sort of like doing a diagnostic on a car, if you want to compare it to that. Of course, it's a little bit more sophisticated, but still it's the same thing, essentially. And the doctor is supposed to perform certain tests. For instance, if it's an orthopedic exam and you've got problems with your wrist, there are lots of technical names for these tests, but they're all published there in the VA Clinician's Guide. And if you want to go in my opinion, Dave, with a leg up to a VA exam or even your own exam, you're going to want to read that Clinician's Guide so you will know what to expect. If the veteran educates himself or herself first about this exam, they will come in empowered. They will know what that doctor is supposed to do.
That's a great point.
Right, and if the doctor doesn't do those things, the veteran can tactfully point out to the doctor, well, gee, doc, I thought you were weren't you supposed to do a Babinski test? Weren't you supposed to do this, that, or the other thing? And gee, I thought we've only spent about 10, 15 minutes here, doctor. I thought maybe you'd be examining me for a little bit longer, and so forth.
The simplicity in reading the information you get from the doctor's office for the QTC examination will really give you a lot of information. It will tell you specifically, essentially in the case of a guy with multiple disabilities, when you get the QTC doctor's letter, it tells you exactly what that examination is for.
You'd be going in for an exam with only one specialist at a time, right, Dave?
That's correct. You wouldn't have multiple examinations because assuming you have different disabilities, they require different doctors. And so there would be a scheduled examination for each of the conditions you're applying for compensation through the Veterans Administration. It would be a different doctor. If you have two, let's say, orthopedic joints, a knee and a hip, the same doctor could do both, but if it's a different condition, then you're going to need a different doctor who specializes in that particular element.
Right. Let me toss in one more tip. I think, should the veteran elect to go with his own doctor, it's going to be very important for that doctor to review the veteran's complete C-file when he examines the veteran and writes a report. Because if that doctor doesn't review the complete C-file, the VA will just toss it, in effect.
Right.
I mean, they will give lip service to it. They'll say, we saw Dr. So-and-so's exam, but they will frequently say, up on appeal, if they deny the claim, well, Dr. So-and-so didn't review the complete claims folder, but our doctor did. And so you've really got to get your complete C-file with those medical records if you're going to your own private doctor, and make sure that they see them, review them, and comment on that in their report.
Because the history says a lot for an examination. When you can historically talk about the disability or the injury, accident, or illness, when you have the history, that's what the VA looks at to see a complete examination rather than just skimming along the surface and only talking about the immediate present issues.
And along the same line, Dave, it's a good idea to keep track, a rough track of the time you spend with that doctor. And that's face-to-face time, not the time you spend in the doctor's waiting room, not the time you spend filling out forms that he asks you to complete, but the time he actually spends with you examining you.
Tom, I'm smiling because I get a lot of veterans that I see, and frequently a veteran will come to me and he say he had a psych eval with a QTC examination and it was 18 minutes for a psychological evaluation. So that's why I was smiling when you said that. Yeah.
Right. When they take hours,
right,
frequently in the private sector.